Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about Paula Coelho's work basically. So let's see a few people joining in. Then I'll have a chat with them and then start with the session. So basically, I'll be covering about few books and few quotes from Paulo Coelho's books, which are my favorite, and we'll be discussing about his work as well. So basically, books and quotes, and that's the agenda for today. So this is the third series in the book club. We did Brenny Brown, then we did Sudha Murthy. Today it is Paula Coelho's work. Hi Vivan. So have you read any books of Paula Coelho? Hi Sushantu. So just wanted to know whether you guys have read Paula Coelho's work and all, and which books have you read so far? Hi Rashmi. Am I audible? You can see me and hear me as well, right? Yeah. Alchemist. Okay. Yeah, even that's my favorite too. So yeah, so let me begin talking about this beautiful author, and he's a Brazilian lyricist and a novelist as well, and his work was got famous by, I think he's written his book too in 2002, The Alchemist, and after that only he became famous. It is an international bestseller book. I think he's written around 30 books, and I think it's got translated into 88 languages, and it's got published in 77 countries as well. So yeah, so today I'll be covering this five of my favorite books about Paulo Coelho's work, and also I'll be covering some of the favorite quotes he's written about in his books as well. And probably I can read, if time permits, I can read some of there's a book called Like the Flowing River. It has very short stories, so I can read one or two small passages from here, which are just I think not more than 100 to 200 words, so I can read that as well. So yeah, so let's talk about Alchemist. So first book which I'm going to talk about is my favorite. The most favorite one is Alchemist, and it talks about it answers a question basically, that how far would you go to realize your personal legend. So it's all about going after your dreams basically, and it's about a shepherd's story. Uh, Basically, and that's how he goes ahead with his dreams basically to fulfill his dreams. That's the main story in that book. And and it's a travel to Egypt, because that's what it talks about in Alchemist, that you should follow your dreams. So there are three, four lessons which people take from this book, is that the journey is very important, because when you start a journey towards your dream, what happens is that you convert your experiences to become a goal, which means is that if you are led, you get polished in your journey, and you go through that inner churning and inner quest and all, that you become a better version of yourself. And second thing it talks about is never giving up. The shepherd doesn't give up in his journey to go to Egypt. He overcomes all the obstacles which comes on his way. So that's what it is, another important life lesson for us, that is never stop, just keep going. And also he was, because he had a dream of reaching that destination, so he was listening to his heart. So that is another lesson from this book, that is always listen to your heart and follow your dreams basically. So that's about Alchemist. The next one is and I think I'll also read the review also, it's available here. So yeah, so what it's yeah it talks about I'll read that exact line what it talks about. The whole world changes, and the things we touch will also turn into philosophical gold. So that's the main crux of that Alchemist book basically. And next book which I want to talk about is The Winner Stands Alone, and again it's again another interesting book. It talks about what people go through to achieve what they want in life, whether it is money, power, and fame, and they can go to any extent to achieve that. So that's all. It's a price we pay for success. So that book is all about this concept. So, is there anything has anybody read this book? This is The Winner Stands Alone. It's normally So I think nobody's read that book. Okay. No. So it's an interesting book because it talks about the price we all pay for success. So it talks about basically it talks about in Keynes, it talks about stylist and the models and all. What it talks about three characters who paid a price to become what they want to become in life, and they are and to achieve that success in life, they had to pay a price and they had to go through their own journey. So very interesting book basically, and we also see that everybody, whenever they want to achieve something in life, they pay a price for it. I mean, in terms of hard work, in terms of time, in terms of energy, some of that is a some for every success something is required from us basically. And another interesting book which is about 11 minutes, and it's about a young Brazilian who works as a sales clerk, and she goes on a vacation and she's offered a role as a cabaret dancer in a cabaret dancer, and but she ends up getting into prostitution, and then later she meets somebody who happens to be as lost as she was, and how she goes through I mean different ways to reconcile and get aligned to herself. That is the book all about basically. So another interesting book, 11 minutes. So yeah, so right now I've talked about three books. Another one interesting book is about Brida. I don't know whether you guys have read about Brida. Brida is also about a young woman who's in search of knowledge, and she goes into she believes in magic, and she's in search of something or the other, and that's basically the knowledge she wanted to explore. And she goes into forests and she meets people, she learns from their experiences, and the way this Paula Coelho has written explained about it is like it's a mix of love, passion, mystery. The way it is written is very nice. So it is very interesting because it makes you read more. When you start reading the text, you start reading more into that book. So that's what Brida is all about: a quest of a young Irish woman for knowledge and how her life changes basically. So though I'm talking about the crux of the book, I'm not giving away what is in the book because I want you guys, if you've not read the books, do go and read it. And also, I think there are in YouTube also you might find a synopsis of these books as well in Hindi, English, and different languages as well. If you get a time, at least read that because Paulo Coelho's books have a message in it, and it makes you. I mean, it has more of a human experiences. So we do see these kind of experience in our own day to day life, and when we read these books or these contexts, we'll be able to relate to it. And the next one I'll talk about is Zaire. Zaire is another interesting book, and it's I think it is also an international bestseller, and it talks about a writer. What happens is his wife abandons him and goes away, and how he goes in search of her, and he goes from Paris and he goes to a place. I think he goes to Central Asia from Paris and all of these places, and he starts exploring life in a very different way. He actually, whatever principles he used to believe in life, he just goes, he abandons those principles, and then he looks for other reasons in life why life is like that. And also it talks about freedom and solitude. So I mean, we talk about people around us being having a how company is important in life, people around are important in life, but he talks about not only freedom but also solitude. And he also talks about the wandering about the future of a man in search of stability, love, and spirituality. So it is a quest. It is also like a quest here. The person is trying to understand what it is all about, and it is also very beautifully written because when his wife disappears from his life, that is when he starts this journey basically. So these are the five books which are my favorite. There are many books. He's written around 30 books. There's a book called Adultery. There is another book called The Witch of Portobello. There are many books, I mean, which you can read basically. And these, I mean, Zahir, Brada, 11 Minutes, The Alchemist, and The Winner Stands Alone. These are the five books which are my favorite among the 30 books which are there. I've not read all the collection of 30 books, but I at least know just of most of the books basically. And let me get into Paulo Coelho's quotes. Basically, they are very interesting quotes which we can adopt in our own lives. So I'll talk about something starting with the secret of success. So it is based which the quote which I'm going to talk about is from a book, Alchemist. It talks about, and when you want something, all universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. We all know this, that if we have a desire, so universe will make sure that we achieve that. It will open doors for us if we have that kind of a dream. We have that strong belief that it is we need to achieve something in life. So कहते हैं ना, सारी कायनात आपकी मदद करती है आपके ड्रीम को फुलफिल करने के लिए. In Hindi, that is what it is said. So this is a very beautiful quote from his book, Alchemist. So even I do believe in personal life as well with my experiences, that if you believe in something, the doors will definitely open. There will be hiccups, there will be obstacles coming in your life, but still you will, because the faith and belief is so much in your dream, that you'll be able to overcome that. This is a beautiful quote about success. When we think that whether we will achieve something or not, so actually we should aim high, and then dreams should be higher as possible. When you aim high, dream high, your dreams are big enough, and probably you will see that all the doors will be opening up for you, and you will always try to fulfill that as well. Next thing is about failure. So when we are on the path of success, we always meet failure. Failure is something which is always there. So there is only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure. So if and again, it is again written in Alchemist only, this particular quote. So अगर हमें लगता है कि हमें मिलेगा नहीं या हम हार जाएंगे, so that is our belief that it is not going to be fulfilled, makes the dream not come true basically. So we should not focus on the failure. We should focus if it comes true. So कहते हैं ना कि अगर we normally it is a tendency that people overthink. So in case we think all the worst case scenarios कि अगर ये गलत हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा? What will happen if something goes wrong? If doesn't go the way we wanted it, but we don't think कि अगर वो जैसा हम चाहते हैं वैसा हो गया तो goes in the right direction, what happens? So instead of focusing on the positivity or the right direction, we always focus on the what can go wrong basically. So probably that's another way of looking at things, that should not look for failure. We should always look for the fulfilling of the dream or fulfilling of the goal, or the dreams coming true basically, rather than thinking कि यार वो पूरा नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा, ये problem आ गई तो क्या होगा. Because the more you think about problems or the failures, you attract that things more. But if you think or believe that your dreams will come true, you will attract that energy into from universe to yourself. That's the law of attraction as well. That's how it works. And another beautiful quote is from 11 Minutes. So it is about on learning from your own mistakes. So I'll read that quote. Everything tells me that I am about to make a wrong decision, but making mistakes is just part of life. What does the world want of me? Does it want me to take no risk, to go back, or to where I came from, because I didn't have the courage to say yes to life? So I'm not reading the book. It is a quote, GP. It's a quote from 11 Minutes. So I'm just reading Paulo Coelho's few beautiful quotes. So I've just picked up 5 of them. So this is on learning from your mistakes. So कहते हैं कि रिस्क लेना चाहिए लाइफ में, एंड लाइफ में रिस्क नहीं लोगे तो जिंदगी क्या जिए. जिंदगी जीने के लिए you have to take the risk, make mistakes, but don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that will only make you human, and that from there only you will learn. So बिना अगर जैसे कहते हैं ना, गाड़ी गराज में रखी जाएगी कि गाड़ी बाहर निकालने से एक्सीडेंट होगा तो गाड़ी लेने का कोई फायदा नहीं, वो बेकार हो जाएगी. So similarly, you should always take risk in such a way, not being scared of making mistake. गलती होगी कोई बात नहीं, you will learn from that mistake. You will not make that mistake again. You make a new mistakes. So what I remember from my childhood days, my father used to say is, innovations तभी हो सकती है when you make mistakes. So yeah, so that's what I keep. That's why I feel this quote is very important. That we should take risk in life and make mistakes, because that only will make us human, and we'll only learn from that. Another thing, we live in a society where we are surrounded by people, our family, our friends, our colleagues, so day to day we meet a lot of people, and what happens is we start explaining ourselves. If something goes wrong, what do? We start explaining yourself. But the thing is, if you try explaining, so it's a beautiful quote. Don't waste your time with explanation, because people only hear what they want to hear. So even if I tell you, गलती मतलब late हो गए, इस वजह से लेट हो गए. अगर किसी को वो सुनना ही नहीं है, the story behind being late, they will not listen to it. They will only listen to you are late. So it's no point explaining things to people. It's better to leave it at that time, because and you can't expect whatever you're explaining, people will get that. So it is okay. You did do what you were supposed to do, and you do what you feel like doing as well. Not expect anything from others that you will be understood, or you should be understood by others as well. It's not necessary that everyone has to understand you. You have to. If you have understood yourself, it's more than enough. So next one, I'm taking this quote from the book Brida, and it's again on having courage. So it's Brida. The book is about a quest of a female Irish girl who goes into forest in search of knowledge and all. And so what it talks about is, do we have, if we get to know our purpose in life, do we have the courage to go ahead and do it? Do we have so I'll read the quote. When you find your path, you must not be afraid. You need to have sufficient courage to make mistakes. Disappointment, defeat, and despair are the tools God uses to show us the way. So it's a beautifully quote that we should have courage in whatever we decide. So, for example, अगर आपको पता है कि आपको यहाँ जाना है, this is your goal, this is your dream, this is what you want to do in life. There will be hiccups. There will be a lot of things which are not in your favor. Will make when you are a beginner in that area, will make mistakes, but you have to forgive yourself and go ahead. So there will be a lot of disappointments. I mean, people who are leaving jobs want to start their entrepreneurship. There will be a lot of lessons learned in that journey. So पहला success पहले में success मिलना जरूरी नहीं है. You might have to do many ventures to get success, or maybe क्या पता एक ही में मिल जाए. So it's a learning phase. So you have to accept yourself the way you are. Once you start accepting that what has happened for good, then you start realizing that what's the next step, solutionizing it. So instead of always looking कि हमेशा अच्छा ही होगा सोच के लाइफ नहीं चलती. मतलब यू शुड थिंक पॉजिटिव कि यार अगर कुछ बुरा हो जाता है उसमें भी कुछ अच्छाई छुपी होती है. सो दैट्स हाउ योर एटीट्यूड शुड बी टुवर्ड्स लाइफ. So I've just finished with the synopsis of the quotes and the books. I'll read something from this book if you want me, or if you have any questions, I can answer those questions, or I'll read a passage from this book called Paulo Coelho's book, Like the Flowing River. So it's a very so it has very small, this book which is there has very small stories. If you look at it, this book में इतनी ही मतलब if you look at इतनी छोटी story, मतलब इतने ही पेज का है actually, mostly 100 words के करीब. So this is about a story about who would like this $20 bill basically. So it is about a $20 bill. So this is about a lecturer who goes into a seminar by holding a $20 bill. And he asked कि किसको चाहिए. Several hands went up, but the lecturer said, before I give it to you, I have to do something. So he says that he screwed it up into a ball and said, who still wants this $20 bill? Again, the hands went up again. And what if I do this too? He threw and crumpled the bill at the wall, dropped it on the floor, insulted it, trampled on it, and once more showed them the bill. Now all creased and dirty. So मतलब what the lecturer did in the seminar is कि $20 का जो bill है उसको उठा के crumple कर दिया, मतलब उसको पूरा गंदा कर दिया. And then never forget this scene. He said, it doesn't matter what I do to this money, it is still $20 bill. So often in our lives, we as human beings are crumpled, trampled, ill-treated, insulted, yet despite of all of that, we are still worth the same. That is what we forget our worth. So it's a beautiful story. It talks about कि money has its worth. So अगर हमारे पास 10 रुपए का नोट है, उसका वैल्यू है, चाहे वो आप crumple करो, गंदा रखो, फाड़ दो, तोड़ दो, it has value. Same thing is with the human being also. Whatever experience we go through, whatever mistakes we go through, or whatever journey we have. So in spite of all of the things we go through, we are worth it. Our worth is same. So we should not look down upon ourselves basically, because we are, everyone in this world, in this planet is worthy. That's what the story is about. So similarly, there are beautiful stories like छोटे-छोटे stories इस book के अंदर हैं, which is very inspiring. And there is another interesting story which I talk about is the intelligent clerk. So there was an at an airbase in Africa. The writer Antonio de Santiago Exploria made a collection amongst his friends to help a Moroccan clerk. So किसी इस Moroccan clerk wanted to go back to the city of his birth, and he managed to collect 1,000 francs. So सबने मिलके उसके लिए पैसे इकट्ठा किए so that this clerk could go to his own village. And one of the pilots flew this particular clerk to Casablanca. When he returned, he described what happened because this clerk was supposed to go to this his own village, and he went to the village. Pilot had dropped him there, and the money which he took with him was the money which was contributed by various people for his journey to go back to his village. So what happened here? As soon as he arrived, he went out to supper in the best restaurant. He gave lavish tips, ordered drinks all around, and bought dolls for the children in his village. The man had absolutely no idea when it came to look after his money. So what this guy did is, उसके जितने पैसे थे, he spent out lavishly. He enjoyed his coming back to his village by spending it on the kids, by buying them the toys which was needed. He had gave tips also, and so because he did not value the money, that is what we can see, that he's just splurged on the money. But on the contrary, the saint said he knew that people are the best investments in the world. By spending freely like that, he managed to regain the respect of his fellow villagers, who will probably end up giving him a job. After all, only a conqueror can be that generous. The crux of the story is कि ये जो उसने अपने villagers के लिए किया, इस वजह से what happened is he's got that the respect from his villagers, and probably people would start looking up to him, that he's come from a different land to their own village. He's come back to his own native place, and he will be offered a job if he wants to. He'll be given that respect. So people will start looking up to him. So that's what his intent. He's a very intelligent clerk, because that is what he wanted. कि जब वो वापस आए तो उसकी people start respecting him, start doing things in his favor as well. So for that, what he did is he splashed the money on them. So when you invest in people, people give it back to you as well. That's the crux of the story. So I think this is the two small stories I wanted to read from this book, and I think probably I'm done with what I wanted to cover about Paulo Coelho's work. And if you have questions, you can ask me, so I can answer those questions as well. And probably I keep looking at the quotes which he's written somewhere or the other. You can find his quotes everywhere, and there's also a beautiful interview with Oprah Winfrey. And if you get a chance, just go through the interview on YouTube, and where he talks about his books and his journey as well. So if you Google Sushantu, if you can Google on Paulo Coelho's books on internet, you will get it. So there is a site also. Paulo Coelho's website is also there. There's a blog also where he writes regularly. So you can get all the information there. So where do you find your reading list? So I'm an author as well. So I have written a book called Achans Flamingo. And what I do is, because being an author, you explore where good books are there. So I normally check Goodreads. It's another app where you can read books, and from there I probably follow authors with whom I can relate to. So people whose journey I can relate to and who have an influence in my work as well. That's the reason. Those are the authors whose book I read. So I prefer things which I can actually incorporate in my day-to-day life. So I don't go by big philosophies. I go by things. So Paulo Coelho has also written a lot of things, but whatever I said today is what I believe from his work, and I have taken that's a takeaway for me from his work. And GP, you're asking what book are you reading? So right now the book I am reading, I'll show it to you. Yeah, I'll just show it to you. Just a minute. So I have a lot of books here. So the book, I'm not reading Paulo Coelho's book now. So I'm reading this book, which is called The Land of Flying Llamas. It is by Gaurav Punj. So Gaurav Punj is married to Rujita Divekar. She's a celebrity nutritionalist, basically. So this is his book. It talks about the journey of Himalayas, the treks done in Himalayas. So I'm a traveler and a trekker as well. So I had read this book earlier, but again because I'm missing traveling right now, so I'm reading this book. Yeah, 11 minutes. I have read 11 minutes. Yeah, it's a story about Maria. Yeah, Rajat, I've read that book. So Maria was promised a role as a cabaret dancer somewhere, and instead she gets into prostitution. That's a story about those 11 minutes and how she comes back to her life and how she gets aligned to her own self. And it's like way she gets reunited to herself is the story. Strong character. Maria is also strong character, and I think Paulo Coelho is beautifully written those characters well in his books. So anybody has any other questions? I think probably I've answered everything. What books are you reading? So right now I normally read Sudha Murthy's books if I get to read, and I randomly read as well. So there's no specific genre as of now I'm reading. I just because I am into traveling, so I prefer reading books on travel and treks. And probably I watch a lot of YouTube videos to get to know if I'm going to a place what needs to be done. So I'm planning my solo trips for the coming 6 months. So probably just making my list for that. And reading list, it's I talk to a lot of people, so that is how I get to do my reading list because I want books which I can relate to basically. So I think I've answered both the questions here, and even 11 minutes I've told about Maria. So anything else you have questions, Vivan, Rashmi, Sushanto, GP, and all? If you have questions, you can ask, and I can. So, what are the kind of books you guys are reading? If you can share that, that will be really great. I read stuff like Freak Economics. Okay, 0 to 1. Okay. So yeah, probably I'll make a note of these books. I'll see what kind of what content is there. And Atlas Shrug. Okay, Shriyantu, that's great. So, 0 to 1. I'm just making a note. And Atlas Shrug. Yeah, 1 year of solitude. Okay. I think people who can enjoy solitude and find I mean happiness in their own company. I mean probably they're the best. That's the best. You don't need people around you. Thanks for sharing those books. I'll keep a note of it so that I'll also read. So if there are no questions, I think probably we can end the show. Hope you enjoyed the session, and if there are any feedback, do provide it in the comments so that it's useful for the next session. So next session is about again discussion on Oprah Winfrey's books as well, her work. So that's she's also another icon I look up to. So yeah, my role model as well, apart from Sudha Murthy. Yeah. So thanks for joining this session. Take care. Good night. Keep reading. That's what I'll say. Enjoy reading books then. Take care. Bye.